working here. It's amazing when you need Wi-Fi and you don't have it, how your life just kind of
Comes to a screeching halt.
comes to a screeching halt, and then you go to plan B, and sometimes you don't know what that plan B is. But we'll get there. So as you're getting set up, and I'm getting set up, I just need you to know that I am filming myself. But what I have done is I have zeroed in on just the screen. So my friends here, you don't have to worry about being on camera. I may have just cut your heads off, okay? So I know sometimes it's like being on camera, I don't know how to, don't know if I know what I'm supposed to be doing, but, okay. So those of you that have been in Pear Deck before, there's the website, joinpd.com. And today's code is green X-rays kindly form confused ninjas. Alright, so GXKFCN. I see people getting loaded. I can go ahead and start the class because in the upper right hand corner will still be the code. Alright, so joinpd.com, and then the code is still up in the upper right hand corner, GXKFCN. Let's just double check all of our tech. Yep, we're still recording. Okay, so I've been asked to come in and talk to you about different project formats. So what we've done down in our office, my name is Miss Norman, by the way, and I'm down in H308. If you don't know where we're located, we are down on the 3rd floor across from Student Life Center. And you come to our office because we have a color printer. Let's just be honest, that's why you come down there, okay? But we also have lots of other equipment that you can check out with your student ID. So we have people that walk in and out. And as 10th graders, correct? Mm-hmm. As 10th graders, you probably already know that. But just in case you've never used our office to check things out, just know we have a wide range of equipment from microphones to tripods to podcasters. Okay, as you continue on through your journey of high school, just know that we're an office that has lots of things that you can check out. So check with us first before you go and buy things. I hope we can ground ourselves in these 2 guiding questions today as you're writing your outlier and you're thinking about who your outlier is and you're writing those moments and you're writing about your sidebars or you're creating those sidebars. I hope you keep these 2 questions in mind, all right? What kind of story are you trying to tell? Because that will dictate which platform you use in which to tell that story. And then who is your audience? So you know you're doing this for a grade, but beyond that, who's going to be your audience? And as we go through some things, there's some stuff that I'm going to show you that is going to need Wi-Fi and be shared digitally, but there's also options where you can print and hand things off. So depending on who your outlier is and what their capabilities are to digitally connect with you, that's also going to dictate which platform you choose. So those are our guiding questions today. What kind of story are you telling and who is your audience? All right? So I always start off with what the actual assignment is. So I've taken this directly from your assignment and I've highlighted what I thought were the keywords. So you're going to explore, you're going to research, you're going to synthesize, you're going to try and gather so many resources, whether that be images, that be quotes, that be sound bites, but then in the end we land on writing. All right, so I emphasize the writing just like your teachers do, your English teachers do. So the writing is what we really need to focus in on this assignment, and that writing, that descriptive writing, will help you define those moments, but it will also help you define when you're going to make a sidebar. So again, what story are you trying to tell, and who's your audience? All right? You also have lots of other choices that you have to make. And on those choices, your descriptive language, as you read it and you get peer review and you get teacher review, what kind of images come to mind? And so that's going to help you decide, am I going to go media heavy? Am I going to go text heavy? And so I'm hopefully going to show you a couple of assignments today, some examples of where they've been able to find a happy medium and blend both of those together. But these are some of your choices. I'm also going to show you an example of what linear and random looks like today. Do things go in a straight line because I've got lots of dates and places that I want to identify? Or does my audience member get to just jump around and look at things because there really is no order to the story that I'm trying to tell? There's order, but there really is no order, and they have the freedom to explore on the platform that I'm presenting. So lots of choices. All right, with those choices comes responsibility, all right? And these are the design principles that we talk about. When you get this slide deck, you're going to be able to see these four, and I just want to try and sum this up for you without going deep into this because you really need to look at the slide. But the things, and I'm talking about fonts and font colors and background colors, these things matter. And so you have to take all of these things into consideration. Where you place your sidebar is going to matter. Because if it's not connected with your moment, then your story is off. And that's proximity and alignment. Where am I going to place my sidebar? Does it obviously go on the side, or can it be floating? Can it kind of float and guide? All right? How are you going to tell your story? And then the third one up there is repetition. Once you land on a style, once you land on a floating sidebar or a sidebar that's off to the side, don't mix and match. Once you've figured out that I'm going to have this particular font and this particular font color and this particular background, don't mix and match because that just confuses your audience. All right? Also take into consideration the audience again. What kind of colors do you think would be warm and soothing to them? Because that's the kind of story you're probably telling. Or which one kind of colors would garner excitement? So lots of things to think about on this slide. So I land on this. The platforms that I'm going to show you have what I call pre-designed templates. And so instead of trying to reinvent and figure out all of those things I just started talking about, try and look and see what templates already have done that work. And go in and see if you can find something that you like that actually enhances your story. So instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, as this states up here, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, try and figure out how those people, when they designed those templates, how they used those key principles of design. All right? So here, not a great example. Oh, let's pause for a second. All right, so that I can get to know you just a little bit more, you should see a red dot on the bottom of your screen. I really kind of like to know where you are in the process right now. All right, if you think you haven't started yet, which if this is due next week, please don't put your circle up there and admit that. However, if you feel like you're kind of somewhere more than 50%, I got this, I feel like I'm done, maybe you land up in here, maybe you're not sure, so you're going to put your circle up there. Go ahead and drag and drop. Where do you feel you are? Rate your progress right now. Okay, and I'll just turn this on so you can kind of see where everybody is in the class. All right, rate your progress. All right, so we've got a few people that feel like they kind of know what they want to do, but they need to take a little bit more time. But we got a majority of everybody thinking that they're about 50% done. 50% at this moment probably is you've got at least one moment written, maybe two. You're looking at your sidebars, you're conferring, you're getting feedback, and you're just trying to enhance it and make it look better. Okay? So that's very, very helpful information moving forward as we talk about things. All right, so going back to the templates that I was talking about, we've designed a template for this slide deck, and I want to explain it before we go forward. So it's kind of three parts. Right in the center where it says sample photo, the three formats that I'm going to show you today The example is going to go right there in the middle where it says sample photo. Over on the right-hand side is going to just be the extra notes that we think would be helpful. So we've linked up, we have hyperlinks to the actual websites, but then we've hyperlinked in some examples for you to look at. And I know you've been given a sheet with a folder of examples, correct? Okay. And then here's a key piece, whether it's free or not. So we've gone through and we've looked and we've updated our slide deck because we wanted to make sure that you knew what you were kind of diving deep into as to whether or not this is going to cost money. Is this only available to me for 30 days? Can I get to this via my SAS username and password, and do I have access free? All right, which is the majority of what we're going to present to you. Up above, that's your rating scale. Going back to that guiding question, who's my audience? Who am I designing for? And so, is it interactive? So I'm going to show you some things today with the timeline where you could actually generate some guiding questions that could turn into some quizzes, and you could get your audience member to interact with you. Whether or not it's a challenge. So the meters in the middle, some are 2, some are 5. All right, and then the sharing capabilities. Can I digitally share this? All right, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the majority is digitally shared, correct? That is what we're going for? All right. But then in the end, if my outlier doesn't have capabilities to get this, then how am I going to share this with them? Okay? Lots of things to think about. So here's the first example. All right? Here's the first example. This one is showing you Spark Video and Spark Page. Has anybody used this platform before? Okay. So 2 links that actually take you to the website. This is free. This is free for SAS students. All you have to do is log in with your SAS account. It is web-based. There's nothing to download. Okay? These are some examples, which is where I'm going to spend the bulk of our time when we're on this slide. Look up on top, interaction. Pretty interactive. The challenge, not hard at all. If your text is written, mostly in Google Docs, you should be able to take your text and you should be able to drag and drop it into this platform, including sidebars. Right? And then it's definitely shareable. Okay? So I'm going to bounce out of this presentation for a second. If you can get there with me, that's great. If you can't, you can just stay and watch. So here's an example of a page, Adobe Spark page. So this is a former student. This is his outlier project. So all I do as the audience member, I'm controlling it, and I'm just going to use my trackpad. And so when I do my trackpad, this is how his story flows. It is a vertical linear story. I get maybe one moment that moment is taking me into probably where his outlier lives or has been. Sidebar. Now, I'll pause and remember this photo for later. Remember this photo for later. Another sidebar. Photo gallery. So now you want to show more than one photo. Photo gallery. More text, another moment. Probably an image that's more important to be shown at this moment, but then lo and behold, here comes a sidebar. All right, and then I do believe his story ends with another photo gallery, and then he ends on the country flag, the flag of the country. All right, video. So that's page. That's how it flows with page. This is the Spark video. Not a great example, but what it does show you is you can take images, you can take voiceovers, and you can roll it together into a video. It's only 15 seconds long, and it's meant to be just a really, really short clip. You know, with your story, it'll probably turn out to be like 5 minutes long. This is great if you are going to interview your outlier and their actual voice is captured. You can actually use sound bites.
It's going to be live. Yeah, this one's live.
Go.
What's next?
So this is the text I want to read.
Okay, so again, developed online, just a 15-second clip that shows you images, it shows you text, and it shows you voice. All right, I'm going to bounce back into the presentation. So again, this is Adobe Spark. It's free, it's web-based. 2 links to the actual site, 2 examples. Okay, moving forward, based on what you know, just very little about the 2, where do you think you're landing right now? Where's your thinking? Those are the only 2 choices that you had, Spark Page or Spark Video. Take your blue circle. If those are the only 2 choices that you had, where would you land? Okay. And there are quite a few in your folder, in your example folder of the Adobe page that you can go in and look. Okay. All right, second one. This one's timeline. Those of you with lots of dates, you're going to find this one to be very interactive. All right, so there's 3 examples up here. There's Padlet, there's Timeline, and there's Satori. It's specifically Satori Essential. So Satori is the only one up there that's not free. Padlet, you can sign in with your SAS account. Timeline, you'll just have to create yourself an account. But there are 3 links there, and there's 3 examples. What you're looking at right now is Padlet. And so look up at the top at the rating scale. Interactive, not a huge challenge, and it's definitely shareable with a link. So this is what it looks like on this side. So depending on how large I choose to make this, I can do text, I can do images. When I run out of room, look at 1688 down there, or 1676. When I run out of room, I get a sidebar that allows me to create more, and I have a scrolling bar there. All right. If the person has a larger screen, or they need to have the text larger, this is actually what I can do as well. All right, and it still becomes linear. And I can move along, and I can interact with each of these pieces until the very end. So if your writing is heavy in text, if it's heavy in dates, heavy in places, you might want to think about a timeline. I'm going to skip to Satori first. Satori is a little bit different. So what you just saw in Padlet, horizontal. That was a horizontal layout. This one is vertical. And so this is the actual Satori example. Not many people have chosen this one. But the difference is look straight in the middle. Do you see those dots? That is the timeline for Satori. So the dots are in the center, and this becomes a vertical story instead of a horizontal one. And these are just some examples. So we've got text and images. You've got a quiz. I know that looks like a video trying to load, but it's not. It's an actual GIF file, all right, a GIF file. But then you've got a little bit further down, you've got a question that they're asking, so you can actually type in an answer there. And then the entire page can be filled with a video. All right, again, another image, but then down at the bottom, attached to that image is like a matching type of interactivity there. Okay, so lots that you can do here. The middle one on that list was timeline. This is a little bit different. And so you actually build your story here in this website. So you got to create yourself an account. It is free. And you see the words make a timeline, and this is kind of what it comes out to be. After you've inserted your images and after you've inserted your text. But how do you do it? You actually scroll all the way to the bottom here. You've got yourself a tutorial there in the center. You've got numerous examples that you can look at. But then you come down here and it says make a timeline, and it walks you through step by step on how to do it. And I want you to just land your eyeballs right there in 1 and 2. Because what it's asking you to do is you just create this in Google Sheets. Right? So if you've never used Google Sheets, it's just a spreadsheet. And it comes up with these little squares. And you download this template and you start inserting your story into this spreadsheet. And then look down there in the bottom of number 2. It says all you do is publish it to the web. Now, when you want to make changes to your story, you make changes to the spreadsheet. Okay? So now, there's your step-by-step. And if I come down here, here's some other tools that Timeline will do as well. So again, if it's heavy in dates, if it's heavy in places, but I've also done an interview and I want to capture my Outliers voice, it can actually do voice as well. If you want to show if there was a unfortunate incident in your Outliers life and you want to do the juxtapose there, then you can show before and after photos. And you can actually put those side by side. Very easy to make. Okay? But if we scroll back up to the top, this is kind of the example that they're showing right now. So not only do you get to see the images and the text, but then you get the timeline at the bottom. And it's actually showing the different stories and the pieces as you go through. All right? So this is how to, these are some platforms that you can use if your story is heavy in dates and places. All right? Now, based on these 3, where do you think you're landing? Just based on those 3. All right? And it's okay, so that's why the option there is timelines. You know, I don't have a lot of dates. I don't have a lot of places in my writing right at this moment. So this one I can tell right now is not going to work for my project. Okay? But if it does, where do you think you're landing? Okay, and I think the circle's a little bit bigger this time. But you can move your things around as you see fit. All right, and if you land in between it, either one is fine. Okay? All right, last one. On this slide deck, there's 10 platforms. I'm only going to go through 3. And so you're going to get this slide deck, and you're going to be able to peruse through some different platforms all by yourself, knowing that the template that we've laid out is the example, the rating scale, and then the extra notes on the side. So here's a newsletter. This is a flat piece of paper. That's all I need you to think about. This is a flat piece of paper. All right? And once I don't share it digitally, that's exactly what it becomes. So that means if I insert any type of hyperlink or well, it'll only do hyperlinks. Then the hyperlinks are no longer available to my outlier. It's no longer available because I can't punch a piece of paper to make a website open. Right? But instead, you do have a fancy piece of software on your computer. As I'm looking around, a lot of you have Mac computers. And if you don't have a Mac computer, that's fine. You can actually get to pages on a Windows computer. You just have to sign in with a free Apple ID. But what I want you to think about is these are templates. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel. And so if you do want to just create a newsletter, there are 5 templates in here that you can choose from. One of the platforms I am not going to present to you, but is on the slide deck, are ebooks. And so think of it as you could think of it as a digital scrapbook, but you could think of it as a book that you are actually writing and going to present. And those can be shared digitally as well. Okay, and you can explore those. And those are some templates up there for ebooks. All right. Last thing I'm going to land on. When I told you, remember that photo in Adobe Spark page? That was not that person's, the author of that Outlier story, that was not that person's photo. Okay, they probably did not have a drone to go out and take a picture of one of those oil rigs. So instead what they did is they accessed one of these copyright-friendly resources. So go ahead and click on Unsplash. And I always bring up these resources because not everybody has access to high quality photos. You might have access to what I call authentic photos. Okay, authentic photos would be original photos from your outlier. But not everybody has access to get those photos here. Not everybody has access to call somebody in a different country and say, hey, can you digitally send me these photos? So you still need to enhance your writing. So how can you do it? And you can do it with high quality images. So go ahead and in Unsplash, go ahead and do a keyword search for, think of something that is prevalent in your story right now and do a keyword search for that. I like Unsplash because Unsplash starts and gives you the beginning of a citation. So it gives you a website, it gives you the author's name, and it also gives you a title of the photo. And so when you go and do your citations, which I think you've got a lesson coming up on citations and how to cite properly, you want to make sure that you've got some high quality images to choose from. So those high quality images are going to make or break your assignment. Okay, please, whatever you do not just go out and do a Google search for images. They don't give you the information that you need for your citations. Okay, do some of this type of research and get high quality images because you never know how large you need to make those photos. All right? I've already told you where our office is. I've told you why you would probably come there. Now, if you would just watch your screen for a second. Here are some of the, I'll come back to that one in a second. Here are some of the platforms I'm not going to present to you. And you can come in here and you can explore on your own. But there's the books that I was talking about. Digital scrapbooks, some links to explore. Paper scrapbooks, right? Again, if this is not in your talent wheel, this is probably not a project that you want to choose, right? If it's not in your budget. Websites. You could think about doing a movie, but again, if it's not in your talent wheel at this moment, then I would particularly not choose creating a movie. But I have put up there something called Clips. If you've never used it, it can be filmed right onto your phone. It is an iPhone product. It's an Apple product. And then story maps. We were talking a little bit about story maps with the timeline. Okay? And some of you might want to explore podcasts because you do want to interview. And you can mix and match and take some of those and not do a strict podcast, but you can take some of those clips and you can move them into other different platforms. Writing a graphic novel is not something that is highly popular, but it is an option. Okay? I'm going to back up and I'm going to land here. Okay? So to conclude, I just would like to know what your thinking is right now. So you can do one or you can do two. Down at the bottom you have a text box or you have a trackpad where you can draw. Okay? And everybody has their own screen. So what are two things you're taking away from today? What are you thinking right at this moment? Where are you landing in terms of your choices? Okay, where are you landing based on what you know about your writing so far? What platform might be the best? So draw or type two things you learned in today's lesson. Okay, and just so you know, I get pretty excited about drawings. So let's see what we got here. So I learned that there are a significant amount of options. Very good. Okay, and if you're typing a second one, I'm not meaning to blow past you, but thank you. Spark pages, good. Copyright friendly images. All right, those are always important. Oops, spark page, thank you for the photo. Appreciate that, your drawing. All right, and I like how this person's thinking. You're thinking already that it's easy to share and easy to assess. Okay, so you're already thinking about your audience and you're going back to those two guiding questions. All right, good. Thinking about all the possibilities. Looks like you're gonna do Adobe Spark. Oh, I got smiley faces. Thank you for the smiley face. Or is that a check mark? Sorry. Spark Notes. Towards Spark Notes. Spark Notes is different. Spark Notes is, I want to like annotate articles. So you're probably looking at video or pages there. Okay. What do we got here? Leaning towards pages. Okay. Use Adobe Page. Looking at Unsplash. Maybe for my websites. My timeline. Timeline won't work well. Good. You've already eliminated that. That's good. All right. Looking at timelines. Good. Oh, nice picture. Spark Notes. Okay, again, Spark Notes is an annotated, that's where you would like go in and annotate, or you would go in and paraphrase. That's what Spark Notes is. It's Spark Page or Spark Video, so big difference. Unsplash, I'm looking at the interactive piece. Good. Spark Pages again. Okay. There are much more ways of creating my outlier page than I thought there were. Excellent. Hopefully getting the creative juices flowing there. Pages. Considering other things for my audience. Adobe Spark. Copyright friendly images. Great. Okay. Oh, we got dots at the bottom and a nice little drawing there. Appreciate it. Okay. Adobe Spark. Excellent. Well, thank you for participating in that. And hopefully that sparked a little bit of your interest. I wish you much success on your project. Just know that we're down in H308 and we can come up here and help you. We can be a thought partner. You can run your ideas past us if you need another person as you're working on type of conferring. Okay? What questions do you